snowflake version of 4chan. I'm so bitter is the name of the post, and it says the trans community says that if you detransition and regret what you did to yourself, you have no one to blame but you. But I was 10. I was 10 years old, obese, and already looked more like a boy than a girl. I despised myself. The internet told me this was the way out, gave me tips on hiding from my parents who wanted nothing but for me to not make a huge mistake. I'm 17 now, my breasts are completely stunted, I have a severe eating disorder, and I've never had a boyfriend. I ruined myself at 10 years old, and the community that once encouraged me now turns their back and ridicules me. I'm so bitter. So, yeah, that's tragic. That's depressing. That's a 10-year-old who, in the name of trans activism, in the name of gender ideology, in the name of liberalism, now has to live the rest of her life with a scarred, mutilated body, has to somehow recover from this eating disorder they now have, has to live with the shame of being shunned and ostracized from the community that once embraced them. That's your circle of people. If you want to say that those are your people, the ones who will hype you up and gaslight you when you're saying, yeah, maybe I do think I'm one of you, but immediately turn their back when you say, hey, this is giving me like depression and it's making my life very sad and difficult, then they are not your friends anymore. Hey, that's your bad decisions that you made. We had nothing to do with that, okay? We definitely did not groom you into these awful decisions. And so this is why it is not a live and let live situation. This trans stuff, I know there are people who are just swelling with compassion who think that, look, Josh, you just gotta look. If they're not hurting anybody, let them do their thing. You know, if a guy wants to dress as a girl and pretend to be a girl, what does that have to do with you? If he's not hurting anybody, they are hurting people. Did you not hear the story I just read? They are hurting people. It's not just the way they look when they go to the grocery store. It's how they also preach their belief to impressionable young people. Whether that's on the internet, whether that's during drag queen story hour, doesn't matter. There was never a problem with all this drag queen crap back when all of these shows were relegated to the gay strip clubs where they were born. That's where drag queens hour and all this other stuff started. Conservatives never liked it, obviously, but so long as they kept to their own little hole, then it was fine. But when you started trying to normalize it and bring it into the public arena, into libraries, into our children's schools, into our children's books, onto our children's television shows, we got a problem. Banda, oh man, you're too funny. You're on one this morning. You are on one. You're not wrong, by the way. A lot of people will say you can't say that about black people, that they have disproportionate representation in terms of the crime that we see in society. Yes, I can. The FBI says so. Is the FBI also racist when they say that 50% of violent crime is conducted by black people? Do you think the FBI is racist now? Or are you just mad at me for stating the obvious? It's not racist, it's just facts. In the same way that it's not bigotry to say that this poor young 10-year-old child was abused by trans ideologues. That's not bigotry, that's facts. So, you know, I never enjoy reading these stories of detransitioners. They're always just horribly sad. But it's important that people understand the implications of the whole live and let live. It's not hurting anybody. That's just not true. You got to grow out of that mindset if you still have that mindset. Okay, here we go. This was a good one. Good old Libs of TikTok. Great Instagram account / Twitter account. They've really held the flag for exposing a lot of the liberal lunacy that is plaguing America. Let me check here. So this morning, they posted early this morning. Actually, I guess it was last night. The application for transgender San Francisco residents to receive guaranteed income has 97 gender options. Kids get groomed at church too. Yeah, Bandit. I mean, look, it would be hypocritical to say that there hasn't historically been a problem with pedophilia in the church. Like, that's just true too. And this is coming from somebody who has a daily, deep relationship with Jesus Christ, is a very devout Christian. But it is true that in the powerful echelons of the church, there is a recorded history of child abuse, child sexual abuse. It's very dark. It's another thing people don't want to talk about. But it is what it is, you know. Like, what can you say? You have to find the bad apples and root them out and make punishment so severe and so public that all of society gets the message that I don't want to have that happen to me. Does not matter how sexually attracted to whoever I am. I'm just not going to do that because I don't want my head chopped off in the public square. How about that? How about if the punishment for pedophilia and grooming was decapitation in front of the local Target? You know, if you want to elect me as your politician to sort these problems out, I'm happy to do so. Seriously, I bet the number of child sexual abuse cases we have in this country goes down very, very quickly when we say, if you're caught molesting a child, you get decapitated, and we're going to make it a public event. We're going to do it in the Target parking lot. All the Karens get to watch. We're going to put it on a live stream for the entire nation to watch. We're going to take your name and run it along the bottom of the screen and say, this is what happens when you take advantage of our nation's children. Does anybody have any questions? Vote for Josh. That's what I would do in order to fix this grooming pedophilia epidemic that we have in our country. So on the note of gender ideology, San Francisco is doing this ridiculous handout where they prioritize people who are gender non-conforming, whatever. Basically, if you're not straight, then you get free government handouts. Great, right? Great. That's awesome. We should definitely put bias against straight people because somehow they're worse or more cruel or less deserving than people who are gender non-conforming. That makes total sense. So they've gone ahead and done that, but the application for you to apply and say that, you know, hey, I'm gender nonconforming and I want some free money, apparently you have to choose one of 97 genders on the application in order to get your free money. Now, in case you were wondering, wow, 97, that's a lot. Matt Walsh had a call out, and, you know, look, I tore apart Matt Walsh last night. You know, he's still on my Twitter feed because, like I said, you got to keep your eyes open. You got to know every rank in the Army, what they're doing, who they're working for, you know, how they're keeping themselves busy. And so how Matt Walsh is keeping himself busy is kind of staying in his swim lane of the whole gender topic. Obviously, he did the documentary, What is a Woman? So that's all good and well. But anyway, he had a very relevant call out with this San Francisco handout. One of the genders on the application, you know, you're trying to choose, or I should say sexual orientations, I'm sorry. You can choose bisexual, you can choose asexual, you can choose gay. Then faggot is on here. Now, I'm confused. I thought faggot was equivalent to the N-word at this point in time. That it was a hate crime to use the word faggot. That's what I thought. But apparently, you know, if you are a gender non-conforming socialist who wants free government money, if you call yourself a faggot, that's how you get free money from your state, from your city. pretty odd twist on things, honestly. Like, can black people go and call themselves the N-word and collect some free money, for that matter? Is that how this works? If I start calling myself, like, a white supremacist, can I get some free money? I don't really understand what's going on here. Maybe we're going to normalize the F word again? I don't know. But it's a good call out from Matt. Appreciate that. Talked about the Pennsylvania fraud. All right. I think that's probably going to do it for this morning. Like I said, I just wanted to get in a quick episode. We mentioned the misinformation along the Poland missile stuff, so we already hit on that. I was going to explain more in regards to how that was clearly misinformation, that the mainstream media just 24 hours ago was saying we needed to go to World War III for. And are you going to see anybody held accountable for putting forth that misinformation? Are you going to see CNN or ABC or the various journalists on Twitter get their posts flagged as misinformation, get their accounts banned because they said, oh, Russia missile might set off World War III? No, that was never a Russian missile in the first place. No, you're not going to see any of that. It's only misinformation or disinformation when it's against the liberal agenda. It can be completely non-factual, it can be 100% false, wrong information, and still not be flagged as misinformation, so long as it goes in support of the Democrats or the or the big tech agenda. You know, that hypocrisy just is the state of things right now. But on that note, let's wrap it up. I'll probably be back this afternoon, probably for about a 5 p.m.-ish, maybe 5:30 Pacific Daylight Savings Time. It's in about 8 hours, for those of you who don't know. I got my normal 9-to-5 job to do. I got to get to my real work. Fun hanging out with you guys this morning. Lots of interesting headlines, big things happening with the Hunter Biden investigation. Really, we need to call it the Joe Biden investigation because that's what it really is. 10% for the big guy. Let's get him his 10%. Let's make sure he gets it. I'd like to see him spend 100% of his life in jail. That's what I would like to see. So we'll see how it plays out. Stay tuned.